Welcome back. The rising cost of housing is surging RV sales in our area. Many people are dumping their homes for one that's on wheels and living a lot cheaper.
But having that RV could come with a huge frustration for many owners.
This just passed, and almost nobody is talking about it. Across the U.S., a quiet shift is happening where RV living has become so cheap in certain states, it barely counts as housing anymore. No rent, no mortgage. In some cases, almost no monthly cost at all. When you see the numbers, you'll understand why people think it has to be a scam, but it isn't. South Dakota offers the cheapest legal cost of existing in America for RV living. Establishing residency requires just one overnight stay at any campground, RV park, or motel. That single receipt unlocks driver's licenses, vehicle registration, and official domicile status without extensive documentation or waiting periods. The state charges no income tax, no personal property tax on vehicles, and requires no annual vehicle inspections. RV registration fees rank among the nation's lowest, often saving full-timers hundreds of dollars annually compared to high-tax coastal states. Insurance rates drop significantly due to rural density and fewer accident claims, delivering savings of $600 to $1,200 per year. Municipal campgrounds throughout South Dakota charge $10 to $20 nightly, frequently including electrical hookups. Extended stays at publicly owned campgrounds are permitted in many locations, and rural towns often tolerate long-term RV parking provided rigs remain orderly and self-contained. Private rural land leases for boondocking cost $100 to $300 monthly. Healthcare administration becomes notably simpler because mail forwarding services, insurance providers, and DMV offices are specifically structured around RV living. This reduces bureaucratic friction that elsewhere costs time and money. When combined, zero income tax, minimal registration fees, affordable insurance, and inexpensive camping eliminate most fixed housing costs. Full-time RVs find South Dakota financially accessible, not through subsidies or programs, but through systematic removal of regulatory burdens. The state's appeal lies in administrative simplicity rather than scenic attractions. RVs can establish legal residency immediately, maintain it remotely through mail forwarding, and benefit from permanent cost reductions regardless of physical location afterward. This creates financial predictability that nomadic lifestyles otherwise lack. South Dakota proves that affordable RV living emerges when government systems accommodate rather than resist mobile housing. Many describe living here as feeling free because the system barely charges for existence itself. Arkansas combines exceptionally low land costs with America's most affordable public camping infrastructure. Raw land in rural counties sells for $2,000 to $5,000 per acre, making permanent private boondocking financially achievable for RVs seeking stable legal parking. State park campgrounds charge $15 to $25 nightly, commonly including electrical hookups. Monthly rates at smaller RV parks range from $300 to $450, substantially below the national average exceeding $700 monthly. Many parks quietly permit long-term stays without strict enforcement, particularly outside tourist seasons. Arkansas consistently ranks among the 5 lowest cost of living states nationally. Groceries, fuel, and utilities cost less than U.S. averages, significantly impacting RVs who still face daily expenses despite eliminating rent. Gas prices typically run 20 to 40 cents per gallon lower than neighboring states, saving frequent travelers hundreds annually. Enforcement leniency in rural areas proves financially significant. Many towns lack resources or political pressure to aggressively police RV living on private property. Provided RVs remain invisible from main roads and generate no complaints, enforcement stays minimal. This creates unofficial RV zones without formal legal designation. The state does impose income tax, but for low-income or fixed-income residents, actual tax burden remains negligible. Combined with cheap land access, affordable camping, and reduced daily expenses, Arkansas enables RV living on extremely limited budgets. Total monthly costs can realistically stay under $1,000, including all housing, food, and fuel expenses. This makes Arkansas viable for retirees, disability recipients, or anyone living on fixed government benefits. The state isn't marketed toward RVs or promoted as nomad-friendly. Its economic reality simply allows survival-level living at costs unreachable in most other regions. RVs quietly gravitate here not for lifestyle appeal, but for financial necessity made sustainable through systematically low pricing across all essential categories. Mississippi holds America's lowest overall cost of living, directly translating into cheaper RV existence across every expense category. Campground fees, utilities, food, and services all cost less because underlying wages, land values, and property taxes remain consistently low statewide. RV parks offer monthly rates between $250 and $400, typically including water, sewer, and trash service. Rural areas feature informal arrangements with private landowners allowing RVs to park for $100 to $200 monthly, sometimes with electricity access through extension hookups. These arrangements operate commonly and face minimal interference from local authorities. Fuel prices rank among the nation's lowest, often sitting 30 to 50 cents per gallon below national averages. This significantly reduces travel costs for mobile RVs over annual timeframes. Grocery prices also trend lower, with staple items often costing 10 to 15% less than western or northeastern states. Regulatory enforcement remains minimal outside city limits. Mississippi doesn't aggressively regulate RV living in unincorporated areas, and zoning enforcement proves inconsistent across counties. Many lack formal RV restrictions on private land, making quiet long-term living legally feasible without constant pressure. The state does charge income tax, but the compressed overall cost structure keeps total monthly expenses extremely low. Retirees, remote workers, and fixed-income individuals can realistically maintain RV living for $700 to $1,200 monthly, covering all housing, food, and fuel. Mississippi doesn't advertise RV-friendly policies or court nomadic populations. Its economic reality simply makes it among America's least expensive places to exist, which naturally attracts RVs seeking survival-level affordability. The state functions quietly as a refuge for people displaced by housing costs elsewhere. Its appeal isn't lifestyle or scenery, but rather basic economic accessibility that allows continued existence on minimal income streams unavailable in higher-cost regions. New Mexico's affordability stems primarily from massive public land access. Millions of acres of Bureau of Land Management and National Forest land permit free dispersed camping for up to 14 days per location with minimal enforcement in remote areas. This access alone eliminates campground costs for much of the year through location rotation. Full-time RVs spend months paying nothing for land use, a situation unavailable in most eastern states, where public land remains scarce. Fuel and grocery prices register moderately, but absent rent or campground fees, monthly expenses drop dramatically. RVs practicing full-time boondocking report total cost between $600 and $1,000 monthly, depending on travel frequency and fuel consumption. New Mexico maintains cultural tolerance toward off-grid and alternative living arrangements. Rural counties often lack strict zoning enforcement, and many areas openly allow RVs on private land without permits or inspections. This creates unofficial communities operating under regulatory radar. Climate adds financial advantages often overlooked. Mild winters in southern regions reduce heating costs substantially, while dry conditions minimize moisture-related RV damage and maintenance expenses. Reduced corrosion and mold translate into lower long-term repair costs, a financially significant factor rarely discussed in affordability calculations. The state does impose income tax, but for low earners or retirees, the primary advantage remains that housing costs can drop to zero for extended periods through legal public land access. Many RVs describe New Mexico as a financial cheat code, not because laws changed, but because land itself remains publicly accessible. This fundamental difference from developed eastern states creates survival possibilities unavailable elsewhere. The state's value lies in what it still offers, rather than what it provides through programs. Public land access represents the largest housing subsidy available to Americans willing to live without traditional infrastructure, making New Mexico essential to national RV affordability discussions. Oklahoma's RV affordability emerges from cheap utilities and relaxed rural enforcement rather than flashy policies. Electricity rates consistently rank among the nation's lowest 10, often running 20 to 30% below national averages. For RVs operating air conditioning, heating, or internet services, this alone saves $50 to $100 monthly compared to higher rate states. Monthly RV park rates in smaller towns range from $300 to $450, typically including electric, water, and sewer connections. Rural counties commonly permit private land parking with minimal regulation, especially outside city limits. Many counties simply lack manpower or incentive to enforce zoning against RVs on private property. Fuel prices remain consistently low, often 30 to 60 cents per gallon, below national averages. This significantly reduces travel costs for mobile RVs. Over 10,000 annual driving miles, that price difference saves $300 to $600 yearly. Insurance costs also trend lower than coastal states due to reduced repair costs and less congestion. This decreases one of the largest fixed expenses RVs face outside camping fees. Oklahoma does charge income tax, but overall monthly living costs for RVs often stay under $1,000 to $1,300, even with moderate travel frequency. The state doesn't advertise itself as RV-friendly or actively court nomadic populations. Its economic structure simply makes RV living quietly sustainable in ways more regulated states cannot match. Oklahoma's advantage lies in cumulative small savings across multiple categories rather than single dramatic policy benefits. Lower electricity, fuel, insurance, and camping costs combine to create meaningful monthly differences. Over annual timeframes, these savings can total thousands of dollars compared to higher-cost regions. The state functions as an under-recognized option for RVs prioritizing financial sustainability over scenic attractions or cultural amenities. Its quiet affordability makes long-term survival achievable on limited income streams. Texas is frequently misunderstood as expensive, but its scale creates RV affordability through market competition. Thousands of RV parks generate pricing competition that pushes monthly rates down outside tourist corridors. Non-urban areas commonly offer $350 to $550 monthly with full hookups included. Texas charges no state income tax, immediately lowering living costs for working RVs, retirees, and remote employees. This alone represents 5 to 10% more take-home income compared to states with income taxation. Rural counties often maintain relaxed zoning enforcement, especially on private land. Many RVs legally park on owned or leased property without permits, inspections, or occupancy restrictions. Some counties openly accept RVs as permanent housing with minimal oversight. Fuel prices consistently fall below national averages, and long distances between cities encourage vehicle-friendly infrastructure. This creates fewer access restrictions and greater tolerance of mobile living arrangements. Insurance, vehicle registration, and inspection costs remain moderate, while the state's massive economy keeps service and repair pricing relatively affordable. Many Texas RVs report total monthly living costs between $900 and $1,400, depending on travel patterns. Texas doesn't feel free because of specific laws, but because market forces allow RVs to exist cheaply through competition and scale. The sheer number of available parks prevents monopolistic pricing that emerges in smaller markets. Geographic diversity also matters. West Texas offers different affordability than East Texas, and coastal regions differ from panhandle areas. This variety allows RVs to relocate within state borders to find optimal cost structures without establishing new residency. The state's appeal lies in economic accessibility, created through market dynamics rather than government programs. Texas proves that in large, competitive markets, RV living remains financially viable for middle and lower income populations without requiring subsidies or special accommodations. Florida's RV affordability fluctuates seasonally, making timing essential to cost management. Peak winter months from December through March see monthly RV rates in popular areas reach $900 to $1,300, pricing out low-income residents. Once snowbirds depart, rates collapse dramatically. From April through October, identical parks frequently drop to $400 to $600 monthly, sometimes lower in inland regions. This creates situations where RVs moving seasonally or remaining off-peak cut housing costs by 50 to 60% through strategic timing alone. Florida charges no state income tax, significantly benefiting retirees, gig workers, and remote employees. For individuals earning $30,000 to $50,000 annually, This represents $1,500 to $3,500 yearly, kept instead of taxed, money directly offsetting campground fees. Infrastructure density proves financially significant. Florida maintains one of America's highest concentrations of RV parks, creating competition preventing permanent price increases outside tourist corridors. Northern and central Florida counties cost substantially less than coastal resort zones and maintain looser enforcement standards. County-level regulation varies widely. Some cities aggressively restrict RV living, but many inland counties permit extended stays or ignore long-term parking entirely unless complaints arise. This patchwork enforcement allows informed RVs to live cheaply without legal conflict. Florida also offers income opportunities pairing well with mobile life. Seasonal service jobs and temporary work enable some RVs to cover living costs during high-demand months. Florida isn't free, but when averaged across full years, strategic RVs often live for $1,000 to $1,300 monthly total, far below traditional rent. The state's seasonal nature requires flexibility, but rewards those willing to move with weather patterns. Understanding Florida's economic rhythms transforms it from expensive to accessible, proving that knowledge itself becomes a financial asset in RV living. Missouri's RV advantage lies in what it doesn't charge. The state maintains low administrative costs for registration, licensing, inspections, and taxation, quietly reducing long-term expenses most RVs overlook when comparing states. Vehicle registration fees remain modest, without excessive RV-specific penalties existing in higher regulation states. Over multiple years, this saves hundreds to thousands of dollars compared to states with elevated renewal fees or additional mobile home classifications. Monthly RV park rates in rural Missouri commonly range from $300 to $500, often including utilities. Small-town parks cater to workers, retirees, and long-term residents rather than short-term tourism, keeping prices stable year-round without seasonal spikes. Missouri also maintains low costs for food, fuel, and basic services. Grocery prices frequently run 10 to 15% below national averages, significant for RVs without bulk storage or large refrigeration capacity. Zoning enforcement remains inconsistent at county levels. Many counties either lack clear RV ordinances or don't actively enforce existing regulations on private land. Consequently, RVs frequently serve as long-term housing without permits or inspections in rural areas. Missouri does charge state income tax, but low earners and retirees often pay minimal amounts through deductions and exemptions. Combined with reduced living expenses, total RV budgets often fall between $800 and $1,200 monthly. Missouri doesn't attract attention or actively promote RV living, which proves advantageous. Lack of publicity prevents price inflation and regulatory tightening common in states marketed toward nomadic populations. The state's quiet affordability makes long-term survival achievable without constant relocation or legal conflict. Its advantage emerges from systematic low costs across multiple categories rather than single dramatic benefits, creating financial stability for RVs seeking predictable, sustainable budgets on limited income streams. Nevada's unique geography makes it among America's most boondocking-friendly states. Over 80% of Nevada consists of federally owned land, fundamentally changing RV living economics. Dispersed camping on Bureau of Land Management land remains legal for up to 14 days per location. After 14 days, RVs relocate short distances and continue staying legally. This permits months of living with zero campground fees, impossible in most states lacking extensive public land. Nevada charges no state income tax, directly benefiting full-time RVs earning income online or through seasonal work. Combined with free land access, this can reduce total monthly expenses dramatically compared to taxed states with limited public land. Rural enforcement remains minimal. Outside urban areas like Las Vegas and Reno, authorities rarely interfere with RVs practicing leave-no-trace behavior. This tolerance allows extended boondocking without frequent displacement or legal conflict. Fuel prices fluctuate but remain manageable, and dry desert conditions reduce moisture damage, mold, and corrosion. This lowers long-term RV maintenance costs, a factor rarely discussed but financially significant over years of continuous living. Many full-time boondockers in Nevada report total monthly expenses between $600 and $900, including food, fuel, and basic utilities. Housing costs effectively drop to zero through public land access. Nevada isn't cheap through policy announcements or government programs, but through continued land accessibility. This fundamental difference from developed eastern states creates survival possibilities unavailable elsewhere. The state's value lies in what remains publicly available rather than what government provides through services. For RVs willing to live without traditional infrastructure, Nevada represents among the last American regions where housing costs can truly disappear through legal means. Arizona offers America's most structured yet affordable RV system through its long-term visitor area program. RVs can legally camp on designated Bureau of Land Management land for up to 7 consecutive months annually. Total cost runs approximately $180 for the entire season, breaking down to under $26 monthly for legal land access. This represents among America's lowest housing costs, comparable to nothing available in traditional housing markets. These areas are designed specifically for RVs, featuring established roads, waste disposal options, and community norms reducing enforcement conflict. This creates predictability most boondocking states lack, where regulations remain unclear and enforcement unpredictable. Arizona's winter climate also reduces heating costs, potentially saving RVs hundreds of dollars per season compared to colder states requiring constant propane or electrical heating. Dry conditions further reduce maintenance expenses through decreased moisture damage. Outside long-term visitor areas, Arizona also permits widespread dispersed camping under standard 14-day rules, giving RVs flexibility year-round for free camping beyond designated zones. Arizona does charge state income tax, but near-zero housing cost offsets taxation for most low-income or fixed-income RVs. Many full-timers live on $700 to $1,000 monthly total, including all food, fuel, and incidental expenses. Arizona proves that when land access is structured instead of restricted, RV living becomes predictably cheap rather than legally risky. The permit system removes uncertainty while maintaining affordability. This structured approach attracts RVs seeking stability over adventure. Knowing exact costs and legal standing for 7 months provides financial security unavailable through informal boondocking, where enforcement can change unexpectedly. Arizona demonstrates that thoughtful government accommodation of RV living creates better outcomes than either prohibition or unregulated tolerance. This isn't a housing trend, it's a warning sign the system no longer works. If you've seen RV living spreading in your area, or you're living this reality yourself, tell us in the comments. Your experience matters. In our next video, we're breaking down where RV living is being pushed out and why some states are fighting back hard.